All right, Roscoe. We just watched Rezero, season 2, episode 17. What is your thoughts?
My brain trembles. Yes, my brain trembles. Nobody. Last episode, I didn't know what was going on. The episode before that, I didn't know what was going on. This episode, have absolutely no idea what's going on at all. I'm so confused. My brain trembles. Like, just,
Yeah. Oh man. This was interesting. This was an interesting episode. I did not see that. um. Yeah. So where do we even start with this episode? I guess we just start at the beginning. All right. So Amelia is taking the trial, right? And she is definitely about to confront her past or whatever. Actually, let me before we even get to this, I want to tell you what my initial thoughts were when I started watching this episode and I saw that like the episode was like not just doing like the theme song thing and like had something going through the titles and stuff. I was like, oh shit, some bad shit's about to happen.
yo, let's back up. Yesterday, I called you from work, and I was like, I told you, I was like, hey, because it had been like 2 days since it came out, and I was waiting to hear back from you after after I'd watched it, but I had heard nothing, so I call you. I'm just like I don't even, yeah, I don't know if you remember. I didn't even say anything. I didn't say hi. I was just like, dude, have you seen this episode of ReZero?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, once you said you did that, and I was like, oh shit, I thought some bad shit was about to happen. I assumed the worst, man. Roscoe, I was like, oh man, everyone died day to day. Oh shit. Um,
Yeah, let's start from the beginning.
I'll start from the beginning. All right, so all right, Amelia is taking her trial right now, and they are definitely in her past. You get to see like Puck breaking Amelia out of this like ice thingy, and then they like reverse all the way back in time before like wherever she lived was not in snow. It was like very like not a snowy place. We get all this information about that, and she's in the child, and man, Echidna is talking that shit, bro. Oh my gosh, like I didn't think you would able to like make me like be like, oh man, I like this character a lot, but like you're making me like this character even more because she does not give up. She is like, so like every opportunity, every word that has come out of her mouth talking to Amelia has been talking shit pretty much.
Yeah. Like, even when
Which
she's
is
nice, she's like, oh man, I guess I have to be nice right now. But I just want you to
yeah.
know that I still, even seeing this and having some remorse or pity for you, I'm still gonna like talk the I'm gonna talk so much shit afterwards. I just want you to know.
Yeah, like man, she has the finesse, man. Like even when she's compliment, like saying something nice, she got that backhand ready. Uh, I like the one where she was like, yeah, man, I didn't think my opinion of you could get any lower, but I guess it can.
Bro, she's like a mystical, magical mean girl.
uh,
Like Tina Fey could have wrote her character spot
yeah,
on.
I can believe it. I can believe it. Um, but yeah. So we have this like dialogue, and this like interaction with Echidna, and like this kind of goes out throughout the whole episode. But so I guess this question is like not just focused on the beginning. I think it's more a general question, just about like Amelia's talks with Echidna. But like, what do you think Echidna is like hiding or whatever? Like, she's definitely knows there's something that's in this memory that's gonna really like get to Amelia, and like I don't know, like she keeps referencing like how Amelia is too dependent on like men in a lot of ways, like either being like a father figure or being someone she loves like Subaru, or like maybe loves like Subaru. um she's like why do you like you have like such attachment to these guys, these males and stuff like that. Um, and I'm trying to figure out like what her angle is, if that makes sense.
I don't know. I mean, if we could rewind it back up to like mid season, like I didn't see a lot of that in in her comments before. My guess is that whatever this second trial is, that like towards the end, she was like, Let's move on to the second trial that's been fucking you up and like that has been that has broke you down emotionally several times over." Um, like my guess is that whatever is behind that door, whatever is behind that next trial, has something to do with her attachments. And I don't know, and we've sort of seen definitely from what episode are we on right now? Like 18? We on 18?
We're on episode 17.
Well, what we saw in episode 15, it definitely seemed like she had like some like definitely had some like things going on with as far as like her attachments and like her trust in people. And maybe that has something to do with like the fact that like she had nobody for a very long time except Puck.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like even like in this episode, right? Like later in the episode when we meet her like her aunt pretty much. Yeah, her aunt. That like she kind of considered that's pretty much her mother. She's her aunt, but she's pretty much her mother. And she was like she kind of like grab like lifts her up and says like, "Hey, like I think like you can kind of see where like why Amelia cares so much about promises because like they have that conversation where she's like, "Hey, like don't break any of your promises. Like it's super important you don't do that." Like there's like that little scene and like the thing with the eye thing happens again. The same thing that happened in like episode like 15 where it's
15.
like yeah, where it's like, hey, like someone's a precious person. They kind of show someone's a precious person if they show up in like that person's like eye reflection, and like the aunt had Amelia's face like show up in her eyes when she was like telling her like, hey, don't break your promises, and like she pretty much says like your promise is like everything, like it's like the most important thing you can like keep. And like Amelia promises to never break one of her promises. But I feel like this a promise is about to get broken pretty soon.
That was a good catch, man. That was a really good attention to, I don't know, the editing and just like the screen. Man, what are you? You're Quentin Nobody Tarantino?
Yeah, man, I am trying, man. This show just has me like always looking at everything. You don't know how many times I had to hit the rewind.
This episode has definitely left me with a lot of questions. The biggest question of all is not what's behind this door. It's not where is Amelia's mother? Who was Amelia's father? Or where was Puck when all this happened? Why did it take him so long to get here? What was exactly what he was talking about? No, it is what happened to Beetlejuice to turn his face from what we just saw in this episode to what we saw last season.
Yeah, yeah. So
Did he just stop moisturizing?
Yeah. Yeah, so if you don't know, you probably do know, but like audience, if you don't know, in this episode, after we start the trial, well, even before we start the trial, like Amelia pretty much says to Kaden that she has to like kind of confront some things about her past before she's even ready to do the trial part of the trial. So she's kind of doing that, and like through this, you kind of get to see her like break out of her like tree prison. It's not a prison, it's a house, but it's pretty much a prison. She makes it back to like the village that she's in or whatever. And the witch's cult's there. And they're just chilling, helping people, not murdering, which is like fucking insane.
Yeah.
They're just like, yo, here's some towels. You good? You good. Alright, cool, cool.
like
But
they're like the Red Cross.
yeah, these guys are like helpful as fuck.
Like they just murder a bunch of people just like last season.
Yeah, like it's hard. Yeah, it's just hard to imagine like the same people that were just like lighting people up. Like these guys destroyed a whole bunch of towns multiple times. Like these guys are responsible for like a whole bunch of people dying like multiple times. And it's like it's weird to see him like as this like Red Cross kind of like helping force or whatever. But that's not even the most surprising part. You you keep going, and Beetlejuice is there, and he looks in his prime, man. He looks young. He looks fit. He looks like a regular dude, just chilling.
Which makes me wonder how long has Amelia been in the ice? Because in that time, I mean, the only logical conclusion I've had as to why the sudden change in appearance is either A, something we're going to see next episode that like drives him crazy and drives him like insane enough to where his face just sort of crushes by the gravity of his brain folds trembling, or B, that there was just so much time that elapsed between him being in that ice, or between her being in that ice and Puck breaking her out.
Like he doesn't even seem like the dude that would bite his fingers off talking to someone.
Yeah. Well, we do sort of slowly see him start to become that towards the end.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Like he does start doing like that kind of like he's not saying it, but you can see him like kind of doing that same like scratching his head stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know how much time passed in that time that Emilio was in there. I guess like another thing that they said that might be helpful, I guess, is that like when they were talking about age. So this is further on in in the episode two, but like near the end, they start talking about age because like Amelia says like, "Hey, you guys are like a mother and a father or whatever," um, and B- Biasu says like, I could never like date her because like I live so long. She's practically a child to me, and then he like rewords it after she like the ant gets on him. So like, what is Beetlejuice even a person? Because like the way that came off, at least when I was listening to it, was like this dude has been alive a lot longer than even like the point we're talking about now.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder, like, one, how old is he? What is like makes you further wonder how old is this like witch cult?
Yeah, yeah,
Is he the first sloth disciple? Like, it makes me wonder even like how deep the history of his like that order goes.
yeah. I think you're right, right? Like we don't even know like how deep the witch code is. Like we still don't know we know so little about it still.
I think we'd start making more inferences about like what the witch cult is, or like key components of the witch cult now. It seems like it has something to do with adoration, or
Mm.
like, or I might just be pulling this from strings. You can tell me if you see it a little bit differently, but seeing one, how like Beetlejuice reacts to uh one, what's her name, Lady Fortuna, and then two, to Amelia when he meets her. It seems like there seems like there is some sort of like um adoration, or like worship. I don't know if worship is the right point. Like, they definitely seem to be protecting Amelia. And I'm wondering if that's true, if we can draw some more information from Roswell, and if like I'm starting to wonder, like, seeing Beetlejuice's early form. I wonder if Roswell is also somehow connected with the witch cult.
Hmm. Like he is like maybe like a middle stage of like someone that is like kind of gone the same path of Beetlejuice. Well, even in that initial scene that I'm talking about or whatever we were talking about, where it's like she's like first time seeing the village for real, I guess. Like they reference Beetlejuice, reference himself and everyone that's in the witch cult, like at least in the same roles that he is, as like sinners. Um, and he's like, yeah, thank you for like letting us sinners like do this for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. What are you saying?
I was saying, and like, I just noticed the connection between like whatever that sort of connection is with like that thing they adore, like Amelia, or whatever Roswell, whoever Roswell adores. It seems to tie them into a position where they go mad the closer they are or to it, or just like their relation to it is kind of maddening. Like we can see it in one and very distinctly from like how Beetlejuice acts, but Roswell's insanity is very subtle. But you could see like you could totally tell by how I would argue that, being willing to kill everyone 1,000 times over to get what you want, and then to like pretty much manipulate this person, all in the hopes of getting what you want, is just a subtler form of insanity. I think we've seen some of his insanity like in a few episodes ago.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like you, yes, his insanity seems more subtle, but it's not. It's still pretty wild. It's pretty really really out there. Roswell does not survive any of the loops that Subaru has died in. Like he straight up dies to ensure that this person can fulfill a goal that he won't see. Like it's as long as one of him really gets to like get this, it's worth it for him. It's worth like making this person's life a living hell just to like ensure that there is a chance that your dreams get like done, which is pretty really like really insane off bat. And it's like I could easily see like if Subaru was like way more of a person that like ran away, or not even just run away is like the right word, but like which is more like rebellious in general. Like if she, let's say like Subaru opposed Amelia in like a very strong way, I could easily see like Roswell being like a very like similar character to Biosu in a way, right? Like he will force you to do what he says in a way. Like he will force you to do what he says, or he will like eliminate you from the problem, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I can't see anything that Beetlejuice has done that I don't think Roswell wouldn't do if given the right motivations.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy, right? Like it's interesting to see like this like this character that has been like only in the context of being like super insane, and like in this very like intermittent space stage of his life of like being fairly normal. Like he seems like a fairly good dude. No, not good dude. Well, I don't know anything about this dude, but like he seems fairly normal, other than being a part of the witch cult, which is probably just like a generally bad thing in general. I guess that even like leads into that. Like how bad is the witch cult? Like I'm not saying like currently, definitely probably pretty bad, right? But like was there a point, instead of like thinking of the witch cult as like a straight up antagonist or a straight up like force of evil, were they just like a party of people that had like a different opinion, if that makes sense?
Hmm.
uh like like are they were are like we don't know anything, we don't know too much about them, but like even if they were like, let's say they were like religious zealots in a way, right? um are they just what, like is there like sex to this thing or whatever, where it's like yeah, these are just like they were just regular religious people, and then like kind of over like time and decades and like frustration and all this other stuff became zealots, you know what I'm saying? Like how normal would these people be if I guess whatever's gonna happen didn't happen, because there's something definitely gonna happen that's like gonna change all this.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you need to necessarily be a part of. I'm wondering if you necessarily need to be a disciple to be a part of the witch cult. I'm wondering if they are related or not,
Mm.
because I mean I don't want to jump too much, but like we do meet the disciple. What is he, the disciple of greed, or what did they say he was the disciple of?
Yep, this is the second time we met him. He is the Archbishop of Greed.
Yeah, we met the Archbishop of Greed. And two things I've noticed. One, he's not accompanied by anybody, unlike Beetlejuice. Two, I say Beetlejuice one more time. I'm definitely going to summon the actual Beetlejuice. Three, uh, his uniform and the what's his name? I don't remember the other one that we saw in the
We
Venus.
saw we
Was it
saw
Gluttony?
yeah, yeah, we saw Gluttony.
Yeah, the Archbishop of Gluttony and the Archbishop of Greed look very, very different, or dressed very, very different from the witch cult in Beetlejuice. So I'm wondering if there is some sort of diversity or diversity of thought within the witch cult, or if each, bishop themselves, like they have their own rivalries and alliances. Like it seems like the witches themselves seem to be very loosely connected.
Mm.
Like I'm wondering if there is some sort of like um interconnectedness, but that's like in a very like it's kind of like Greek gods, like some of these people are connected to these other people, and like oh yeah, like Herod doesn't like Aphrodite because Hera thinks that Aphrodite is a homewrecker or something like that.
Mm. Yeah. Well, like I guess even like what even interesting more. I wish there was like just like 5 more minutes in the episode because I really wanted to see what Echidna like reaction with this because I think if Amelia asked Echidna, like she would tell her like I guess a clearer answer because like Echidna kind of just does that. She just kind of answers questions, um, and stuff like that. But like, what are I was hoping to find out more information between the relationship between like I am the Archbishop of Sloth, I'm the Archbishop of like Greed or whatever, and the witches themselves. Right? Is there like a true connection between these things? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
right, like would Echidna be like, oh yeah, that's my boy. Like you have Subaru, I got this dude, and I just gotta say he's way better.
yeah, I wonder, man. We don't know. I hopefully. Do you think we'll find out by this episode or the next episode?
think I hope Echidna at least says something about it. I guess like maybe she doesn't because Amelia kind of knows because like I guess like another thing to mention is like Amelia is like seems very more aware in this dream state or whatever, and like she's not like backing down. Like, Echidna is definitely winning this like verbal fight in my opinion, but she's not like getting like backing down if that makes sense. Like it seems like a slight departure from the Amelia that we've met where she's like a little bit less confident and a little bit like a little bit against confrontation. This is like Amelia that we are meeting in this like this past stream or whatever. The one that's walking around like taking the trial or whatever. Um is like way more like letting things roll off her shoulder and like being able to like confront things or whatever. So maybe it's like I was just saying like maybe she doesn't say it because like Amelia's already in the know, but I really hope she like explains stuff because like that's kind of what she does.
Yeah,
Um, but
but
yeah, yeah,
she is more than just exhibition. She is. Wait, is that exhibition? Is that the word? Not exhibition. Exposition. She's more than exposition, man. She is a comedy gold mine. She is the
yeah,
king of the roast.
yeah. She's good. Like I don't know. I think her character is like super cool because it's like it's a character that's like super manipulating but like doesn't come off as evil and can be like also very comforting, right? Like it might be a lie, but it might be the best lie ever. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And do
Like
we?
she
Oh, sorry. What are you gonna say?
go oh yeah, she's just like really good at like we know she's emotionless and like ready like seeing like the dark side of her veil, but she still seems like as good as a character that we met like earlier on. Like if that makes sense. Before we even know that like her like kind of like side intentions.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep going. What you're saying?
Where was it? Are we are we positive that this is the Archbishop of Greed, right?
Yeah, we are positive.
Okay, so definitely that rules out Roswell being an Archbishop of Greed.
I guess. Do we even know how that works?
No, we don't. So yeah, you're right. There could be something else. Uh, I I guess then we'd have to figure out exactly. If not, we'd have to figure out who he is connected to because he definitely has a book. So
Yeah.
he does seem to be somewhat connected to the witch cult
Mm.
or the witches in some way. We just don't know exactly how.
Yeah. Um. But yeah. I guess like another thing I want to bring up, like kind of like following the story or whatever. So like, this is gonna be kind of sweeping, but we in the while we're like going through it, we learned that while we're doing this kind of pre-trial kind of thing, we are we get these two scenes of like Amelia talking to her mom, which is her aunt, or pretty much, and her like seeing the barrier, like the seal or whatever. I think they call it the seal.
Yes.
These are supposed to be like things she recognizes, and I think I get the one, I get the one with her mom, because it's like, hey, I this is a person that really cared for me and was really precious to me, and I've been like kind of blocking her out, and like this is why I wanted to see this scene. And then, but I don't really get the one why she would go to the seal. Is it just because she meets Biersu there, or is there like something else other than that reason?
Well, it seems like the Archbishop of Greed is definitely gunning for the seal.
Hmm.
That's my thought about it. We don't know for sure, but he has to be there for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe the reason one why Beetlejuice's group seems so different from the other witches and the other witches in the witch cult is that because it seemed like is that he has another angle because it seems like how they were talking when Beetlejuice was delivering supplies and the witch cult was being the Red Cross itself was that like whatever they were doing seemed like somewhat in secret. Like it
Yeah.
seemed like
Yeah.
it sounded like he evacuated them from somewhere and relocated them into that forest.
Yeah. And yeah, not even like that. Like he's also like warning them about like what's going on. He's like, yeah, like there's turmoil. Like, is everything good? Is the seal good? He always asks about the seal. Every time he has visited this place, he asks about the seal. And he's like, yeah, there's been like bad shit happening outside of the world. Because like the elves that are in this place, are they prisoners? Is this is kind of like sanctuary in a way, right? Like I'm pretty sure they can leave. I'm guessing, but they're definitely kind of sealed in. If
It
that makes
does
sense.
seem like a sanctuary, and the uh maybe the seal has something to do with like a witch. Maybe it's like a
Mm.
gate to the witch plate, like wherever the other witches exist when they're not in the sanctuary, when they're not in the like Echidna's forest.
Yeah. Well, like even like the way they describe like talk about Amelia, it's not even just Amelia, right? Like they definitely care. Like Amelia's definitely some type of like slightly religious figure to these people. But it's also her parents too, right? Like it's like he's not just saying like I hope Amelia's safe. He says that a lot, right? But he's also like I hope Amelia and the does he call him like a king or a queen?
Not that I remember.
Okay, but Jesus says like, yeah, I hope like her mom and dad safe kind of as well. Got this one frustration in a flashback. Still don't haven't seen their parents. Come on, man. This is bullshit, right? Like stop teasing me. Who is this person's parents? Stop doing Star Wars. Stop doing Star Wars 7, 8, and 9 with Leia or whatever. What's her name? What's the
Ray.
what's the new with Ray? Like you're making this a big secret. Why I think I just should know. Just tell me off bat, and then we can move the fuck on.
For the second time in the last 2 episodes, they have paraded a unknown family member that could possibly be relevant to the story later on.
Yeah, and maybe it's more frustrating. I recently watched the movie like all the way through, both of them, like both of those episodes or whatever, and like a lot of that movie, it's a good movie, and it's more like focused on like the relationship between Puck and Amelia, but like they do the same hint stuff in there, where it's like, oh yeah, there's some family members, man, don't worry about it. But yeah, maybe that's why it's more frustrating. Oh, but
Yeah.
where were we?
We were okay. We were kind of discussing not Roswell. We were discussing Beetlejuice and like his sort of relationship to Fortuna and like them talking about you know, the seal, him checking up on the seal. Uh, Something I noticed is that like eventually they do discover, like Beetlejuice does discover that Amelia is out of her like I don't what is like it's the house from that, like, you know, the Elmer's fudge cookie
Yeah,
commercials. She's out of
yeah.
that. Um but there doesn't seem to be a penalty to her being like out, even though she's obviously not supposed to be out. And seemingly it doesn't seem like she's supposed to be with Beetlejuice, because she definitely causes him a great deal of mental discomfort.
Well, I don't know. I, I don't know. Like, well, mental discomfort. I don't know. What he seemed like very like praising her, kind of like he just met a god, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, he started crying just out of the
Yeah,
blue.
yeah. Um, yeah. It's like that house is definitely a prison. I don't care what anyone says. There's a locked bar on it and shit.
They're
Uh,
not making cookies in that treehouse.
yeah. Uh, I don't know. I think you're right because like I thought it was gonna be more of a bigger scene when like the aunt, what's the aunt's name? It's like she calls her mother
Fortuna.
for Fortuna. Like when Mother Fortuna like finds out like she's like playing tag or chase with Biasu, she doesn't like freak out, which I would thought she would be more freaked out because like the way the conversation was going was kind of like, yeah, you can't see her, it's not a good thing or whatever, but she didn't like snap or anything. She was just kind of like acknowledged it or whatever. But she did say like, "Yo, shut the fuck up," when he brought up her father and her mom.
Yeah. So, I mean, that just makes you question, like, what are they locking the doors for? Is it
Yeah,
for the witch cult? Like, what are they keeping her in that prison for? Is it for the witch cult, or is it for maybe the other elves? We haven't seen how the
yeah.
other elves feel about half elves. And, you know, from what I've seen in, like, Lord of the Rings and any other time they're elves, whenever they don't seem to like mixing blood very well.
Well, like even in the movie is like a big point in the movie is like, yo, it's not that it's your elf. It's because you're a half elf, right? Like, it's there's a big point in the movie where it's like, hey man, your existence is a sin. That's like straight up. Um, and like I don't know, I don't feel that from the elves, at least from the elf, like the elf we meet or whatever that gives her the nuts. Um, like the nuts and berries and stuff like that. He's just like, here's some nuts and berries. Don't do any crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, who is that guy?
No idea.
Yeah, like I
Probably
was
gonna
trying to
be
remember.
another probably gonna be another archbishop the way things are going.
Yeah, I was trying to remember if I had like seen him earlier, and I definitely don't think we definitely would have remembered if we had seen another white haired elf walking around.
Well, yeah. Well, he's yellow haired.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh God.
Oh no, I was saying we just haven't seen. I don't think I've seen him before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess like something else I want to mention, before that is like Beer Suit was saying like he was like late for a meeting, was before he like runs into Amelia, because like he first like sees Amelia and I think he just assumes it's like another elf kid and he's just gonna talk to her, and he kind of gets like starstruck or whatever, and he was like, but before that happened he was like talking about like, yeah, I have to go to a meeting, like I can't believe I'm late or something like that. Was he planning to meet this Archbishop of Greed? Because like I think we can easily assume that he is like he's currently the Archbishop of Sloth.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he probably was trying to meet up with the Archbishop of Greed because it would make sense, like, because he was heading towards that direction, right? That
Yeah,
Greed was coming from. And I doubt the Archbishop of Greed was also just like, yeah, I'm skipping out and I'm just gonna go check up on what's going on right here. So I think you're right. That is a really good catch. I think he is there with Beetlejuice for some sort of conspiratorial reason that we don't
mm,
know. Probably to open the seal, but because he does
yeah,
keep asking about the seal.
yeah, yeah. I, I don't know. Like, yeah, maybe this like leads into like why Kidna saying is like, oh, why do you trust these guys or so much? Maybe it's like there's like some like emphasis on like a betrayal that's happening of like people's trust or whatever. Maybe this is not like a total sham from Biasu, because like it's obviously that he cares for misfortune, a mother fortune or whatever. But maybe there is like some other intention that is like going on here.
Mm.
I guess like the only other thing I want to mention is like, we also learned that Amelia has always been gifted with spirits. Like it's her spirit power. Her spirit power is always strong, always over 9,000.
Yeah, I totally forgot that she had spirit powers. By the way, I don't remember them talking about it since episode one. I don't remember it being discussed at all
Yeah,
until now. Again,
yeah, yeah. Because like Puck is like the main spirit or whatever. But yeah, she kind of can just like, this is like her whole ice power comes from like these lesser spirits, and like she has to like kind of talk to them to make them do what she says. I guess I don't know.
mm.
But yeah, I guess like zooming a little bit, like not out, but like back. Well, like zooming more out into the perspective of Echidna and Amelia. Is there like, did anything else like stick out about like their conversations or like their interactions, like as they look at this stuff?
Other than that, like, Echidna really, really doesn't like Amelia. Not
Yeah,
much. I think that's like sort of the thing that's been eating at me is why. Also, like, I'm trying to like figure out the ages thing. I think the ages thing is like super important. It seems to be like key to a lot
mm,
because, well, what I'm wondering is if Mother Fortuna is assumedly is either the brother to the husband or the wife. I'm assuming it's the wife.
mm,
Just because I'm still I can't tell if it pokes a hole in or supports. It seems to poke a hole in my theory for her being the Witch of Envy, even though I'm still convinced that she is somehow like a reincarnation of the Witch of Envy.
mm.
Um, her mother must not be that, or she might not be that old. Um, then I'm wondering how old is the Witch of Envy, because she has to be older than the witch cult.
Yeah, yeah. And how does Subaru even play into this?
Yeah,
Like what, like we know through the conversation in the tea party, she's like, Subaru, you have saved me in like a way, in like this way that you don't understand yet or guess or whatever. But like it seems so distant, at least for right now. Like there's no clear connection. If Amelia is the Witch of Envy, the connection becomes clearer, but it's also not. It's still not perfect either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it seems weird that Fortuna is like, it's just like this old lady talking down to like this kid. Like, why
Yeah.
does she speak with? Why does she speak to her so informally? Like, you know,
Mm.
it that one is like very disrespectful, like how she talks, but like to her. But it's like also the sort of way that you talk to somebody that you don't like, that you are somewhat on equal terms with, or just like a
Mm.
little bit above.
Fortuna, the mother Fortune,
No,
Fortuna,
no, I'm talking about Amelia and the Witch of
Echidna.
Greed.
Yeah, yeah. Because like they definitely have. Yeah, yeah. I guess like I am. My brain's trembling. I can't even speak. uh, uh, I guess my main questions with Echidna is like, why does she hate Amelia so much? And if it's because like she's the Witch of Envy, why does she hate the Witch of Envy so much? Uh, why does she keep bringing up this angle of like you depend too heavily on these guys, or whatever? Is there like something in her backstory that like makes this make more sense, or like not? She's not wrong. Like at least currently, she's not like crazy wrong, but it seems like a weird thing to focus on, in my opinion, because like Subaru is outstandingly weak, right? Like it's a real stretch to be like, yeah, he's a dependable anything, if that makes sense.
Maybe not if we are going at the angle that Amelia is the Witch of Envy,
Yeah, yeah.
somehow, or she's like another reincarnation. Because we gotta say, like, if we're talking about Witch of Envy, she does see like she does have a very strong dependence on Subaru.
Oh, murdered. Okay, if this is true, she literally murdered herself for Subaru not to tell her something, not to tell her something.
Yeah,
Like,
but we've seen that other characters are more than willing to do that, other than
yeah,
Subaru.
yeah. But like, yeah, I was just saying, like, if it would be so weird that like, that scene of like when he was like trying to tell her like, hey, I can stop time, and she's like, all right, I understand you want to say this, I'll let you say this, and just straight up murders Amelia. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah,
Uh,
but there might be some
uh,
sort of disconnection from them. But
yeah.
also, like, maybe that definitely seems to support that there is like some connection between Amelia and the Witch of Envy, enough that like maybe this could be a thing of like I don't know if if the witches are all like related, but it could be a thing of like, you know, sort of a sisterhood thing of like hey, I'm trying to help you not be like your mother, or like be
Hmm.
like you're reincarnated, or whatever the relation is. This, I want you to be better. Stop depending on these random stop de- on these random dudes for like whatever. You are super OP. Just, I don't know. Like, I mean, she could. There's way better ways of doing this. She could pop in a Beyonce album and just have been done with that.
Like, what if it like we even take it like a little bit further? Like, what if like Echidna and Amelia's relationship is just kind of like you're saying, like more like, hey, this is like a sister trying to like prevent like this person she cares about from like going this wrong way. Maybe they're like Echidna has a closer relationship to the Witch of Envy that we know of, in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like in a stronger connection than we really know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe you know, the whole thing about maybe the Witch of Envy murdering all the other witches. Maybe that had more of an emotional effect than we realize. Like, maybe they did have some sort of bond with each other. Maybe, you know, being murdered by one of your friends or someone you consider to be very close might have had a effect on the Witch of Greed. I have no idea. That seems doubtful. Witch of Greed is pretty hardcore.
Yeah. But like I can see what you're saying, and I don't think that's like I don't think it's a bad idea because like not all the witches are like freed. Like even like pride, gluttony, and even like wrath definitely have like emotional driven like responses multiple times. From the little we see in them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They are definitely like not just like I am like yes they do represent like their sin pretty well, but it's easy to see that like they're not their whole sin in a way, or at least like not the way I would like traditionally like think of it, like right, like in reasoning, like especially Raph. I think Raph really makes like a very interesting argument where it's like this person's angry all the time, but it's like angry like this person's angry about like the stuff that she can't control and the world that like perpetuates that kind of stuff.
Mm.
And then she like tries to fix it to the best of her ability, but like even like the idea of like punching people back to life, like keeping people alive by just keep punching them, is just like I can easily seeing this being like a very like inevitable everyone's gonna die kind of thing, like the very like Superman, strongest man in the world, can do anything, can stop any like threat to the world, but can't stop his dad dying from a heart attack, right?
Well, in this case, the Witch of Wrath could definitely punch away her
Yeah,
problems.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Superman, eat your heart out. I'll punch my dad back to life. But yeah, I guess last thing we do before we go to like our last thoughts and like our predictions. Um, what you call it? Subaru did get a camp like did get like a little like shout out in this game. We got a little shout out. Well, they cut to him for a little bit, and it seems like he's kind of doing what we were saying. Like they're definitely starting to do a plan, and they also kind of mentioned that like this trial is taking kind of long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess like, is there anything you want to say about that small scene or anything like that?
No, I thought that scene was super boring. I was like, when are we gonna come back to the interesting stuff? So I
Yeah,
didn't, I didn't pay a huge amount of attention. Mostly
I was like,
because Garfield was there, and he's he's gonna have to grow on me for sure.
I was like, yeah, I want to go back to see a kid that's talking more shit.
Yeah, that was like a
Uh,
really good part of the show.
Half the show was just her being like, "Yo, you suck." uh, but yeah, I guess moving on to like our our final thoughts on the
Predictions
episode, predictions and
and
final
final
thoughts. So do you,
thoughts.
yeah, do you have any final thoughts or anything like you want to say about this episode? Like, would you rank this episode? Would you like? Is there any other like lingering questions you want to get out now?
7, actually 8. I think every episode I watch, I definitely feel like I need to go back and rewatch everything up to where I'm at now, because it seems like the whole thing about the show is that like everything comes back, everything is important, even like a small tiny detail could have like a very massive effect. um yeah, I excited for the next episode. I'm really really curious about how long they're going to keep us in the dark about the witch cult. I'm very interested to know what the inner workings of the witch cult are, to the point where I completely forgot about like the whole Subaru part, and like how Subaru is gonna get through his um his trial thing that basically he's in.
Yeah.
I'm glad we finally got to some part of the bishops that we saw in the beginning come back.
They
Uh,
came back, but they definitely came back in a spot that I didn't think they were gonna come back in.
didn't think so either. But as a prediction, I still think that like that Super is gonna solve pretty much all the problems. At the end, the uh the archbishops are gonna show up.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
However, they could also show up earlier. Maybe if they do show up, if they do show up at the end, I think this is a good point to have them there, so we have a better understanding of why they're here. Which
Mm.
maybe, and this is my theory, is to start the apocalypse. I think there might be an apocalypse cult. That's my theory at this moment.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, so I'll probably like rate this episode probably same as you, like a 7, mainly because of like that cliffhanger though. I'm like really got me primed up, and like as soon as the episode went off, I was like, you bastard! Like, why did you do this to me? Oh man. So like I would give it like 7 prison tree homes out of 10. Um, but yeah, I guess like I don't have any questions. Well, I do have tons and tons of questions, but like I think this is definitely just an episode that's kind of meant to set up all the stuff that's supposed to happen in the next episode. So I'm just hoping, again, the pacing on the show with the show kind of bothers me, but like I don't hate it. I just like maybe I wish I could binge the show. I think that's better. I think that's what I want. Like, I wish I could binge the show, I guess. Um, but I bet like a lot of people wish they can do that right at this moment. Um, but yeah, I don't know. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I think this episode was like just pretty solid, and like got me excited for the next episode, and I'm really interested to see what's happening. But for my predictions, for next episode, I think that we're definitely gonna spend a lot of time back in the like this test, this trial. Um, I think I think that greed kills the fortune lady, uh and it's gonna spiral out to like making a Amelia do like make that ice, like make the force into all ice and stuff like that. So I think like, yeah, fortune mother fortune is definitely gonna die in the next episode or the following episode. I think it's gonna lead with a big fight with against Beershoe and this greed, this art partial of greed. I think Echidna is gonna explain her connection to these people if she does have one, and like if like a little bit of like why she hates Amelia so much. Maybe she's just like, I hate you because you're gonna bring the end of the world, and that like literally is the antithesis of what I want. Like I want to know everything, and you just want to destroy everything. Um, and I think there is gonna be more apostles showing up, like more of these archbishops showing up. But I don't think it's gonna be the way you're thinking about it. I think it's gonna happen in this trial. So like everything's gonna happen and everything's gonna kind of play out, and like at the end, it's gonna be a scene of like all the archbishops like coming together and being like, "Well, we really fucked this up," or I guess this is the first step to the end or whatever, and then they're gonna like kind of disperse back into like their sex until Amelia like is supposed to break out this ice,
Hmm.
or like re-induce like re gets re in like re-enters the world. I guess they're gonna like separate after like they like start, I guess kick it off, I guess kick the beehive. um and while all that's happening, there's gonna be like another short scene, Subaru um kind of like coming up with a plan, and probably maybe there's like a very big rig goal in the plan that we don't see. Like there's probably something like super dangerous that Subaru might have to do, but he's gonna keep it under route wraps for now.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, thank you, Roscoe. Yeah, we'll see what happens next episode. And if you audience, if there is actually an audience, um, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You are really cool because like, you know, you literally beat statistics, and who can say that? Not many people.
Steph Curry.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Steph
I
Curry could
don't know
definitely say
anything
that.
about basketball. You beat. Yeah. Thanks for beating the odds. Thanks for beating the algorithm. You are the greatest.
Yeah, and yeah, and you know, if you made it this far, definitely like in the comments below or whatever, tell us, throw us your theories. I just love the show. It's pretty cool. Like, so if you have any theories or anything, have you seen the episode or been following the show, throw them out in the comments, or anything like that. But you know, um, thanks for listening, and you know, you have anything else you want to say, Roscoe?
Yeah. Make sure you subscribe or follow or do anything that do any of the things that allow you to hear us again, because we'd love for you to stop by.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, and take it easy.
Yep. Take it easy.